This is lesson 13 in your textbook part 2, decimals. You may know the fractions and the decimals. By studying this lesson, you will be able to recognize decimal numbers, compare decimal numbers, and add decimal numbers having 2 decimal places. From this video, I expect to cover the recognized decimal numbers and the compare decimal numbers. And from next video, I expect to do add decimal numbers having 2 decimal places. Okay, now we'll move on to our lesson. This figure, can you see this figure? This square have divided into 10 parts. How many parts? 10 parts, and colored 1 part. So we can write this as 1/10. The colored part is 1/10. So if we write it as a decimal number, we can write it as like this, as shown in like this. So how can we read it? We read it as 0.1. It's 0.1. This one. How can we read it? 0.2. 0.2. Likewise, we can write up to 0.9. If we divide it into 10 parts, we can write it as 0.1, 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, 0.9, and it's become 1. If all get colored, it becomes 1. Like this, 0.1, 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.9, and finally we can write it as a 1. So we know when we take the whole number, as example I have given is 110, which is a whole number. So each number, each digit in this number have a place value. You have learned it in your earlier lessons. It has a place value. So this digit we call it's a ones place. This one is tens place. This one is hundred place. If there's another digit, it's a thousands place, like that. So in decimal, let us consider number 0. Let us consider number 0.5. So if I write it 0.5 like this, we'll see what are the place values of this decimal number. You know, before the decimal, this is called decimal point. This is we call decimal point. Before the decimal point, this number, the 0, this place is ones place. As I shown in the whole number, ones place. This number is 0 is the ones place digit. And just after the decimal point number, just after the decimal point, this digit we call this place is first decimal place. First decimal place is 5, just after the decimal point. This is the digit in the first decimal place. 5 is the first decimal place. 5. We call this decimal point. This is the digit in the ones place. This may be up to 9. 0 to 9. This number. This is the first decimal place and the 5 is the digit in the first decimal place. So, let us consider now 2.5. How we read it? 2.5. 2 is a whole number and the 0.5. This is a decimal number. This figure, there are 2 squares and 1 square has divided into 10 parts. So this is the whole number, 1 and 1. This one is divided into 10 parts and colored 5 parts of it. So whole number 1, add another one, add this 5 parts of 10th, this one. So it is called 5 tenths. 5 tenths. So 1 plus 1 is 2. Now we know how to convert the fraction into the decimal. So it's become 0.5. 0.5. Then whole number and this decimal number, when we add together, we will get 2.5. 2.5. So how can we show it in an abacus? We can show it in an abacus like this. From this side, there may be ones, tens, hundreds like that. Here we want to show 2.5 only. 2.5. So we have only ones place digit. 2 is a ones place digit. So in the abacus, we have to show 2. And tenths place, we have 5. So we have to color 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then this is 2. This is 5 tenths. So it becomes 0.5. This is 2. This is 5 tenths. So it's become 0.5. That is how we show the decimal number in a abacus. Okay, let's move on to next part. Let's see how to write this represented number. How many are there in ones? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can write it as a 5. It's a whole number part. How many ones are there? 5. It means 1 multiplied by 5. It means there are 5 ones. So it's a 5. This part is tens part. How many? So 1. 1 tenths. So we can write it as 5 plus 1/10. So this one we can write it as 5 plus 0.1. So it becomes 5.1. So this is the number representing from this abacus. We'll move on to next example. It has tens, ones and the tenths. How many tenths are there? 1. So it represents tens. So 1 tenths are there. So it presents 10. In ones, it has 1. So it represents 1. And in tenths, it has 2. 2 times of tenths. So what is the number this abacus representing? 10 at 1 at 2 times of tenths. So this become 11 plus this is 2 tenths. This is 2 tenths. Then if we'll convert into the decimal, it is 0.2. Then answer is 11.2. 11.2. There are more exercises in your textbook. Please practice them. Then you will be able to understand this part very well. Okay, now we'll see how to write in words. Some decimal numbers, how to write in words. Can you see this one? It's 1.8. We write it as 1.8. This one. What is this number? 25. Then we can call it as 25.7. 25.7. This one. Whole number is 10. Decimal number is 6. So we can read it as 10.6. 10.6. Okay, now after you practicing this one, you may write the decimal numbers in words and you can represent them in abacus. And if the given abacus, you can take the what is the abacus representing. So now we will see how to write hundreds. This square have divided into 100 parts. One column has 10 squares, so whole there are 100 parts. It's shown one part is colored. So we can write it as 100. So if we convert this into the decimal, we can write it as like this. It's how can we read this? We'll see how to read. We'll see how to read it. Before that, 10 if I colored 10 parts here, there are 10 parts. So 10 times, there are whole row columns are 10, then 10 hundredths is equal to 1/10. 10 hundredths is equal to 1/10. So how can we read it in words? 0.01, 0.01. This one, 0.05, 0.05. This is the way that can we write it in words, 0.05. Now we'll see this number. We'll see how this number could be writing as a decimal number. So this 27, you have learned earlier in your fractions lesson. 27 is this is the ones place, this is the tens place. There are 7 in ones place, so it's represent 7. In tens place, there's a 2, it represent 20. So we can write it as like this. It becomes this 20 upon 100 becomes 2 upon 10, and 7 upon 100 we can write like this. So there are 20 upon hundreds become 2 upon 10. We can write this as 2 tenths. 2 tenths. We can write it as 2 tenths, and this one we can write it as 7 hundredths. 7 hundredths. This one, 2 tenths, we can write it as 0.2. 7 hundredths, we can write as 0.7. Then add together, we get 0.27. How we say that? 0.27. Let us consider 19.67, this number. Now this place 1 is in tens place, 9 is at ones place. We call this place ones place, this place tens place. If there's another number like 1 or 2 or 3 like this one, this place we call as hundreds place, like that. So this is, we know already, it's a decimal point. Just after the decimal point, this number, this place we call first decimal place. This place is first decimal place. This number is digit in the first decimal place. This is the second decimal place, and this is the digit in the second decimal place. So if we show this number in the abacus, you can represent it as shown this figure. 19 means 1. It's in tens place. So you can show it as in abacus at tens place 1. At ones place its digit is 9. So you can draw 9s in the ones place. How many in the tens place? Now we go into the decimal part, this one. So just after the decimal point it has 6. So we have to show in the tens place 6. And then in the next decimal place it has digit 7. So we have to show it's a hundredths place, we have to show 7. This is how we show in the abacus. So from this place it representing tens part. It's representing tens part. There are 1, so it is representing 10. If it's 2, it's representing 10 multiplied by 2, 20, like that. Here there are 9 ones, so it's shown number 9. Value is number 9. Tens place, we know tens place there are 6 tenths. So this should be multiplied by 6. So it becomes 0.6. And this 7th, it's a hundredths place. So it should be hundredths multiplied by 7. So it becomes 0.07. We are representing hundredths place as 0.07. So this number, this part we call whole number part. This part is the decimal part. Now we'll see some examples how to write some numbers in words and some numbers given in words, how to write in numbers. Let us see some examples how to first exercise. Write down each fractions below using decimal point. We have to write these fractions as a decimal point, as a decimal numbers. So there are 4 tenths. If I write it as is tenths, 4 tenths. So this one, 1 tenth is equal to 0.1. It has multiplied by 4. So it becomes 0.4. It's become 0.4. The answer is 0.4. Next example. It has hundredths part. So how many hundredths part? 28. So 28 times hundredths part. 28 times hundredths part. So this is equal to 0.01. We have learnt it earlier. Should multiply by 28, so it becomes 0.28. 0.28. This one, third one, it has hundredths one, 9. So this is equal to 0.01 multiply by 9, we become, the answer is 0.09. It's very easy. And another way to write it down, if there's a tens part, you can write it as 0 point, then the numerator. If it's a hundredths part 1, you can write it as a 0.2 digits have there, 0.28, 0.09, like that. Understand? Okay. We'll see the next exercise. It says write down the number in words. Write down the numbers in words. This one. How we write in words? 0 point 0.52. 0, how write it? 0.52. This one, 12.7. 12.7. This one, this whole number. What is this whole number? 18.3. 18.3. Next one, 8.99. 8.99. 8.99. So I hope you will able to understand. I hope you will understand this lesson very well. Please follow up your textbook also and do all the exercises given in the book. And I hope to do rest of this part